Uh, Very good morning, all. Our guest of honor has reached, and we are waiting for chief guest. Okay. Very good morning. Our guest of honor has reached, and we are waiting for the chief guest. So we will start in the next 4 5 minutes. Thank you. Very good morning, all. This is a great day for us for the start of India investment opportunities. And this is the first program, first roadshow to move forward. As we are full of opportunities, we have to highlight all the opportunities available in India from Earth to Moon. As you are aware that we started our growth story from the Make in India, then the Startup India, and the Stand Up India, then Atam Nirbhar Bharat, and so many reforms undertaken by the government during the last 7 8 years. Now we are the fastest moving economy in the world economic system, particularly the major economies. And our growth for the next 6 7 years is projected at the highest in the leading economies. That is a great thing which has happened during the last 3 4 years after the from the start of Corona and after the Corona. So now we are ahead of China. We are moving ahead with these more than 6% growth rate, and China is decelerating. So our growth story is now prominent. We are lucrative at the global charts, and everyone is talking about India growth story. That India is progressing with a lot of reforms, and India's story is becoming true and visible at the ground level. So today's roadshow is very prominent for the highlight of the opportunities available in India and the investment opportunities, particularly in the areas of infrastructure and so many sectors which are promising at this juncture to move forward. So, firstly, I would like to request all the dignitaries on the dais and the participants to rise for the national anthem. So, dear participants, you must have heard about the women empowerment, and now the story is becoming prominent as we have two uh, dynamic ladies with us, Madam Manmeet K. Nanda and Miss Nivrati Rai. So one is related to these of doing business and second is for the investment. So both are the complementarities between investments and these of doing business in the country. So firstly, I would like to say something about Ms. Nivriti Rai because Madam Manmeet Nanda will join shortly. Ms. Nivriti Rai joined Invest India after an illustrious 29 years at Intel as a global business and technology leader. She has been part of the leadership team in the various industrial bodies and government committees, bringing a wealth of experience in working closely with the industry associations, business leaders, and government leaders. Ms. Rai brings her vast global business leadership experience and invaluable technological expertise across multiple industrial sectors, including the semiconductors, electronics, automotive, telecommunications, healthcare, and manufacturing to Invest India. Ms. Nivriti Rai is the recipient of the prestigious Nari Shakti Purushkar from the Honorable President of India for her remarkable contributions in the field of technology. Give a big hand to Nivriti Rai because she is now leader of the Invest India, and now investments are coming to, and shortly we are going to become $100 billion in FDI destination in the next few years. So I would request our President, Shri Saket Dalmiaji, to present a plan to Ms. Nivriti Rai for her welcome. Thank you, President Saket Dalmiaji. And now I would like to request you to provide your welcome remarks.
Thank you, Sharmaji. Very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you for your patience and waiting for us. We just couldn't stop sharing our thoughts. And before we could get more carried away, our secretariat made sure that we are here with you. Thank you, Nivriti ji, Managing Director and CEO, Invest India. Priya Rawatji, Chief Operating Officer. And soon enough, we will have Manmeet Nanda ji, whom I had the pleasure in meeting at DPIIT soon enough during Startup India conclave. Our senior members, thank you for being here. So I think we all agree that India is at an inflection point. And what more better than having ma'am here today? I think we have the think tank along with us and we have the enabler joining us soon. So that kind of a combination you will appreciate is unique and unparalleled if you ask me. Today, I am responsible of running a chamber. We have 80 different verticals, ma'am. And each vertical is not habituated to work with the other vertical. And all we are talking about today in this world is how can we coexist and collaborate and work together, because of a lack of that is never going to result in any development. I think we were just sharing some thoughts on AI. So when we had a logistics committee event, we had the Commerce Minister, we had Sumita Daura ji, and surprisingly enough, she asked me that, do you have core competence and knowledge on AI's application to logistics? So there you are. I think apart from technology, enablement is happening across various sectors through collaboration. So a beautiful time, and thank you, ma'am, for leaving such a cozy corporate job which you have created in many ways to be so valuable for you, and give it up for this amazing cause of giving back to the nation. Thank you. A big applause for that. And honestly speaking, whenever I look towards our chamber and chambers like us, the biggest question I ask to myself is, why would I go to a chamber of commerce? And every time I ask that to our members, they always point out to 2-3 important things. One is that what is the next opportunity in our country and globally? What is the journey of India? We know the big things. We know our GDP numbers. We know we are the fastest growing economy. We understand that we have a burgeoning middle class. We have the demographic dividend. But what else? Now tell me something more. So I'm sure we're going to be enlightened and see something new in the conversation we are going to have with you and listen from you. So with no further ado, over to you. Thank you, ma'am.
This is on.
Yeah.
So good morning, everyone. That was such a lovely, warm welcome. And, in that welcome, there was a question. Why did you move to Invest India? Let me actually introduce myself. And this is an honest introduction. And by the way, Pallavi, you gave me a good set of talking points, but I may totally digress from it. I was just looking at what are the policy names, but this topic is so dear to me that I can go endless. And you just have to remind me, when my time is up. So my introduction, we started with our Indian national anthem. I'll tell you, half of my working life was in US, the latter half in India. My daughter was born in US, moved to India with me. And I love Bollywood movies. Every movie we went, we would stand up and sing our national anthem. And a couple of times I looked at her, she had tears and so did I. We do this in movie theaters, and once when we realize that both of us cry, it's not just, crying because it's just getting overwhelmed, the feeling of the nation, the feeling of oneness, the feeling that entire movie theater is standing up. You feel your nation, you feel in your heart how important nation is, how important humanity is. So I have lived in US, I have lived in India, I have been mentored by people in Israel. I love these countries. And I'm so thankful to them for making me who I am. So that's, in short, my personality. Let me tell you my traits. The two traits that I'm known for, one is I'm a technologist. When I was a child, math is something that was very easy to me. It's the history that I struggled with, but I love history. I love history. I actually, before moving to Invest India, I'm going to tell you a couple. My talk is going to be full of stories, but with an intent. When I was looking at interviewing for Invest India, I actually studied World War I and II for a reason. There was a time in early 1900th century or late 18th, Argentina and US were same GDP per capita. In fact, Argentina was more. What happened? What were the policies? What were the taxation regimes that caused United States to move on, run, and Argentina crawled and lagged behind? Not only that, I also learned during World War II, what happened is United States provided a lot of technology-based solutions, airplanes, fighter airplanes. Then UK had, many technologies. Even, whether it was women or men, people were looking at AI. People were looking at decoding AI versus, human messages, things like that. So our history has taught us a lot. Since I'm a technologist, I'll tell you, I'm very disciplined. So I'm a technologist, I'm disciplined. In my 30 years with Intel, if any team made or saw a bug second time, my ask would be, this is not a mistake. This is intentional. Why did we not learn from the previous bug? So what I did is we studied every single bug that Intel microprocessors ever had, traced it down to the root cause, and told ourselves this shall never happen again. Because if it happens again, it's lack of discipline. It's lack of learning. It's history is teaching you, learn from it. So having said that, I am a technologist. I'm very disciplined. My clothes, I love wearing saris. Unfortunately, in my previous role, I could not. Now I'm thoroughly enjoying wearing saris. My summer clothes, my winter clothes, my sweaters, my long, my short are separately kept because I respect every single item of clothing I have. just to tell you my discipline story. The last one, I don't give up. I do not give up. Intel has 100,000 employees worldwide. India has 30,000 now. We started with 4,000. However, if there was any dream project that we had, we did it. Money didn't stop us. Talent didn't stop us. Time didn't stop us. When you are passionate about something, you have what is called endless energy. You do not give up. So just to tell you why I was speaking to Mr. Dalmi about AI is Intel's first inference engine was architected, designed, developed, and productized by me and my team in India. I had two roles. I had an engineering hat, and then I have a country president hat. So I learned the ecosystem, government, startups, suppliers, diversification of suppliers in my president role. In my engineering role, I wanted to be honest to engineering, learn such that I get the respect of the entire Intel India team that I had. So I do not give up. Now, it's probably easy, Mr. Dalmia, for you to understand why I took this role. I'm here for a purpose, and the purpose is definitely not economics. The purpose is capitalizing on the opportunity we have. You know, our Prime Minister keeps saying, Abhi samay hai, sahi samay hai. And I totally believe it, time is now. And I'll tell you, scientifically, you know, time is now because there's tailwinds blowing in our favor. The tailwinds are blowing in our favor in multiple different axes. Axis number one, technology. You know, India in the past, it used to bother me, why is India only software? And I realized that for hardware and for systems, you need a lot of capital, upfront capital. But in the past, India built software for others. You have no idea how many Microsoft engineers from Indian origin were building the Microsoft OS. There are Google engineers building Android OS and many. However, did India have its own indigenous OS? No. So what were we doing? We were building somebody else's OS. What happened over the last 10, 15 years? What happened is India realized that 60 million MSMEs are there, 30% of contribution to GDP, employing 110 million people. I'm still getting used to crores and hectares, I will. But for now, my numbers will be in millions. I'll tell you, we need to up-level these MSMEs with only two things: access to market and then technology. Technology such that their efficiency, productivity is higher, and access to market is, why should they be restricted to selling in their own district or in their own state or even in their own country of $3.2 trillion economy when the 80 trillion awaits for them? So we have to come together and support many of these MSMEs through technology and through access to market. Now, to keep the business running, you know, in every corporation, there is an acronym called KTBR, keep the business running. Many startups, unfortunately, start with a lot of exciting technologies, a lot of dreams for global market. But there are many analyses which show in 5 years, 90% of them die. Why? A lot of times, they need a lot of policy support. They need a little bit of hand-holding. So what we realized is we need to look at solutions which can address scale. We can help these 60 million MSMEs through technology and through policy. And I'm really happy. Today is the first of our Unnati platform, thanks to the PhD chamber. By the way, I love your name, PhD chamber. It just, spells so much strength and, content and technology. So I really feel we have to look at how do we enable through national level platforms, and all of you are witness. By the way, just to let you know, roughly half of the world's digital transactions are happening in India. And I like to do manager math. Right now, I'm sitting as a manager math. Whenever there's a 47, I like to call it 50. So in case, you think, why she's saying half. If there is, 475, I like to remember as 500 million. So I'll tell you, half of the world digital transaction is happening out of India. How? The country drove what's called Jam Trinity. Jandhan, Aadhaar, and mobile. Mobile today is a device that enables bank transaction, that enables, as a digital wallet. Oh, by the way, the Citibanks, the Amex, and all chose to not make India as a market, thinking that India is not ready. Guess what India did? Leverage its software might to build the Jam Trinity. What is the Jam Trinity? Of course, all of you would know, but for the ones who may not, Jandhan, Aadhaar, and mobile. Jandhan is bank accounts. I think 500 million people plus have bank accounts. Aadhaar is multi-factor biometric identity, not just iris, not just face, multi-factor. So, there is a lot of security and authenticity. And the last is a device. All of it, other than the device, is software enabled. So now India is leveraging software for its own advantage. It's building national level platform, whether it is UPI, Unified Payment Interface, that's a software platform with open APIs that many startups leverage. So Jam Trinity enables half of the world's transactions. That's what the government is trying to do, to handhold our people such that they don't have to invest so much upfront cost by giving them a standard platform on which they will build their own unique solutions. Logistics and agriculture is another area where it's absolutely essential to make them more efficient such that the cost reduces. Just to let you know, 2% of United States is employed in agriculture, feeding the country, which is maybe 1/4 the size of India. And about 40-ish% of our people are employed in agriculture and feed the nation, which may be 4x in population as compared to United States. So even if United States, you make it 4x, it'll be 8% of people, we are 40%. How can we help? Through technology, through platforms, through ease of doing businesses for people, through understanding our policies. Many a times, I'll tell you, I'm a victim of not understanding a lot of legal language. I'll tell you, for me, it is a little bit hard to even understand therein, thereupon kind of English. So what we have done as Invest India is brought together a platform. So I told you UPI is a platform. By the way, there is health platform in the making for our country. There are AI platforms in the making for our country such that the base is there so people can, forget to crawl, but walk and run. So what Invest India has done is build a lot of platforms. Why? Two simple things. How to make our investors' investment strategy easy by enabling them the knowledge of all of the policy requirements across the multiple states. By the way, India should be viewed as a continent because our different states are different, their strengths are unique, their policies may be unique. So what we did is, for this continent of India, the United States of India, is we are building a national single window platform that will enable you to come to one place and have information for all of the requirements you may have, whether it is incentives, whether it is policies, regulations, or whatever you have across the country. Similarly, again, to make it easier for many of you, we have, India IIG, India Investment Grid, What that does is the large projects of India are posted there, the status is posted there. Infrastructure is so important. The cost for logistics and infrastructure has to be reduced, just like agriculture has to be reduced. So we have a national logistics policy, which is looking at how do we reduce significantly, almost half. If it is a 14% today, how do we make it a 9%? And all of this information you can get out of these platforms that Invest India is working and built. National Single Window is one. India Investment Grid is one. India Investment Land Bank is another one. So we have multiple such platforms to make lives easier for investment. I'll tell you again some information on what, while India is moving to India 2.0, I have no qualms in saying that we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, we have our opportunities, and we have our threats. So do you. Each and every one of you have your own SWOTs. So what we are doing as Invest India is working on many such modules are already existing. We are putting many such modules plus some new together to create what is called Invest India's landing platform. What this landing platform will do, it's essentially actually a landing on the runway and holding hands such that your landing is convenient, successful, you disembark with your luggage and everything safe. That's our purpose. And in order to do that, we will also share with you the Indian ecosystem of the MSMEs, of the small companies, of the large companies, whatever, in terms of if you are a shoemaking company, from leather to laces, if you are a Japanese company, Japanese food, interpreters, logistics, freight, roads, all the way holding your hands till you're not just operational, but you see ROI. So our first mission as Invest India is help you invest in India, but also work with you to get return of investment for you. We're not a black box. We were digital, we are transparent, and we care about your success. And your success is our success. The second thing is trade. I'll tell you, we are in the game. You know, Mr. Dalmia, Mr. Sharma, and Mr. Mehta, they were all so proud in adding moon in multiple sentences, you know, earth to moon, because that is something really special, not just to the Indian, but everybody who participated in making the moon mission successful. So I really feel India is in the game. There was a time when India was receiving. As Intel India, I'll tell you, I have been in Intel for 30 years, last 15 in India. 15 years ago, we would be catching scraps. Intel would say, do this. 2 people scraps, we caught it because it was important. We were building. We were trying to build center of gravity before excellence. So we caught whatever. We had the best people. We did it. Not only did we do it, we had extra time to drive innovation. Those are the moments we leveraged to build AI engine out of India for Intel, to build blockchain-based solutions so that the last receiving person and all of the, you know, value chain is digitized. So I really feel that India is in the game. So no longer are we looking at one-way trade, which is how can we import to you? How do we export to you? We are also thinking, how do we export from you? Or did I say it wrong again? So import, export, both. We have something to give and we have something to take. We are in business. So no longer I want anyone to think that we are only trying to sell. We're also trying to buy. You heard what Tata announced with the EV batteries. You saw how many planes we bought, both defense and the passenger. So we are in the game for business. So we are not just looking at as Invest India enabling to sell, but also to buy. Lastly, and very importantly, and you can clearly see why I pushed for this third assignment for us, is how do we look at India as an R&D marketplace? So not only the back end is exciting. The front end, not just for design, but also manufacturing. I want to tell you why I really believe that even in R&D and manufacturing, we are in the game. If you look at the phone industry, from nothing few years ago to 44 billion, and by the way, 30% is for export. 70% is for our consumption, but 30% for export. What does it say? Our quality is good. The other thing I'll tell you from my own experience, laptops and servers and desktops are very complicated circuits. Many of them have billions of transistors in it. But as Intel, we have leveraged local companies to build Wi-Fi modules and memory modules for Intel's laptops and desktops. What did we do? 10% of these volumes we moved from China to India. All of the China plus 20% has moved elsewhere, to the Vietnams, to the Thailands. I really feel 80% is the opportunity for us. And I'll tell you, thank you for recognizing me for the Nari Shakti Puraskar, but let me tell you the reality. While I was the receiving person, I have to thank the 30,000 Intel might behind me. Nothing can be done alone. There is collective intelligence. No one person is smarter than the group of the people. And like I said, each one of us have our own weakness, our own opportunities, and our own threats and strength. I really think the world today, if you look at the moon mission, the successful one, which we are all basking about, did you know what technologies went into that? Connectivity, networking, GNSS, semiconductors, memory for storage, a lot of mechanical engineering, civil engineering, many such technologies. What does it tell you? Any solution that you need to work today. Pallavi, by the way, I can go endlessly. You have to stop me. Needs multiple convergence of technology. No one country or company is excellent in all of those technologies. So ISRO, as a horizontal, it has semiconductors, it has networking, to name a few. It's not just rocket scientists. So if the nations, the countries, companies who have a democratic vision, who are looking towards population scale, the world grows, we grow. And I'll tell you honestly, my mantra in Intel was very simple, and I've shared it with my team, so sorry about that, you'll hear it umpteen times. I had a mantra which said, I want to maximize Intel with maximum India, and I want to maximize India with maximum Intel. So we are in the game as a market, as a technologist, as a solution providers, but I and all of us are looking at partnership. There's so much we can do together. You're alone. You can, there's a saying, I forgot who said it. You can walk fast or something, but when you are together, you walk further. There's another one that I absolutely love. It's from Dhirubhai Ambani. Work on your dreams. Work on your dreams. Otherwise, somebody else will hire you to work on theirs. So we have a dream of growth, not just for us, but for you and for everyone. Our democratic principles, our PM tells us time and time again. That's our DNA. The culture that India has, I feel very proud because I remember how many times we were thrown off our room because, some random distant relative of my parents came. Of course, close relative, not only you give your room, your everything, but even for distant relatives, So we care. The democratic principles is in our DNA. The last thing that I want to finish with is sustainability. I'll give you one last story and then I'll finish. My story is I lived for 15 years in US, and back then they were not called memes, but in this generation they're called memes. For my young friends, the meme kind of thing in my generation 15 years ago would say, oh, how do you recognize an Indian? They will use the grocery bags for the trash bags. They will not buy those black trash bags, they'll use the grocery bags. And that was supposed to be a meme, like you're supposed to laugh at it. But in my mind, it was, oh my gosh, it's plastic. It better be reused. If I'm not recycling, back then, even in the United States, there was not so much recycling, but we were reusing. Give me a break. Many times, I'll tell you, even paper towels. I did this. When the paper towel was used for something not so dirty, I would fold it and put it right next to my sink. And I wiped the sink multiple times. Still, it was like so shreddy. I trashed it. So reuse is in our DNA. Respecting values of democracy is in our DNA. But I'll tell you, there's tremendous opportunity. In 1987, I'm looking at the numbers because I don't want to give you wrong numbers, but just get the feel for it. In 1987, the manager math number is $250 billion was the GDP for India and China. And by the way, this is not to demoralize us. This is for, let's roll up our sleeve. We have a lot to accomplish. $250 billion in 1987, 10 years later. And many of us were definitely alive and kicking. Many of us were going to be born. In 10 years, China grew 4x its economy. It became the so-called 1 trillion. If you ever hear India is behind 10 years, it comes from this statistic, and I'll explain. 1987, we were 250 billion. 10 years later, in 1997, China grew 4x, became the 1 trillion. We grew 2x. We were 500 billion. We were actually 415. But remember half, because those numbers are easy to remember. China grew 4x. We grew 2x. Then what happened in 2007, which is 10 years later? 1997, China became 1 trillion. 2007, India became 1 trillion. That's the 10-year. How are we 10 years behind? Because China became 1 trillion in 1997. We became 2007, 1 trillion, 10 years later. So our goal is we have significant opportunity. We have to cover 10 years. I'll tell you, the amount of FDI that has come over the last few years is mind-boggling. Why? Because now we are demonstrating not only can we work on other people's dreams, we are working on our dreams while working on other people's dreams also. We are the best students, we are the best learners, because our people with Indian origin learn the culture of United States, learn the culture of UK, and are leading some of the US, UK firms. We are the best learners. We have tremendous opportunity. About 1.5 million engineers graduate each year. We have 400 million working people. I don't have to tell you the GDP growth rate. Everybody knows. Well, one thing I must tell you, in the next 25 years, we have to grow 10x. Our economy is 3+ trillion. We have to be 30+ trillion in 2047. That will be 100 years of our independence. Can we do it? Absolutely. How? Working together collaboratively, leveraging each other's strengths, and catapulting all of us by standing on the shoulders of technology. I really believe India, with 18% of the world's population, has tremendous capability to drive AI-based solutions, because whoever has even leveraged AI knows AI's raw materials are volume of data, variety of data, and depth of data. We have to look at saving people's identities. There are technologies for that. We don't have to transport data because there are technologies for that. Federated learning being one of them. Homomorphic encryption being, trying to muffle identities. So there are many technologies. I really feel if there is a need, there is a technology that will answer, because we have smart people in the world. We have grit and gumption, and we have opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we could go on and we could continue to listen. But fantastic point on the sustainability bit. I think I never thought about our nation having the habit of reusing as a cultural habit. So would it be okay if we could have some questions?
Absolutely. I would love to.
So we'll open it to the audience. One request. So right now we are trying to expand our minds into what India can be. So my request would be that the problem solving questions as to how to get there kind of questions, let's put it for the second half. Let's right now try to expand our minds and understand, how big can we become? What's the journey? Could be industry specific, could be whatever is, you're curious about. So I'll open it to the audience. Please please introduce yourself and keep your questions short. And again, positive and trying to open our minds to the opportunity which India brings to us. Please, sir.
Yeah, Madam Unnati, recently we had a very interesting proposal from semiconductor company from Taiwan, and later on they withdraw proposal and they want to have their own. And although we have our own technology in a great, but until as we borrow technology from USA or Taiwan, we can't proceed further. The second aspect is about quantum physics or quantum computing. We are very still waiting for it to start. Until as we have initiative immediately, we may be left out the way we left out from semiconductor. Although in 80s we were in having edge in software, but we are left out now in software also. So how you are going to deal these three issues?
I'll tell you, I'm very hopeful. That's maybe other trait that I missed out. I'll tell you that I think you are mentioning Foxconn. There was partnership that was announced with Vedanta, and then there was a change of plan, and Foxconn said they want to do it themselves. We have to look at solutions which are indigenous, and we have to house companies, which are global. I will tell you, I have been brought in to Invest India with a certain background. I have a background in technology, and within the technology, I have a background in semiconductors. So I will work with the right ministry, with the right people to figure out what is the best way. Every country is thinking semiconductor, whether it is, countries in Europe, whether it's Americas. You see the incentive, 52 billion is what the CHIPS Act for America is. Everybody is looking because the digitalization of the world will happen where semiconductors are very critical, component. So be assured, India has a plan and India is working on it. The fact that we are trying to attract investment from abroad tells me there'll be Foxconn, there'll be maybe something from Tata, maybe something from Reliance, maybe something else. There'll be disruptors who will rise. So I assure you, we will have fabless ecosystem, and we'll have a fab-based ecosystem. And we will not miss out. Yes, we might be a few years late because we are a democratic company. We like the world to grow with us. Second thing on quantum. Again, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example from Intel. Quantum works on entanglement properties. Something that is happening here, because of entangled properties, the same thing happens here. So just to give you an example of, let's say, download of movies, whatever happens here, instant. So there'll be no lag and delay. The building blocks for those are called qubits. And I'll tell you in Intel, 30% of the team that is building these qubits are Indians. And I will tell you, there are strategies that our principal scientific advisor is driving, focused development on quantum. And sorry, I missed your third one.
You're lagging in this technology. So my question was regarding our own semiconductor technology. Do we have our own technology or we have to borrow from someone else?
So currently we are leveraging technology, and just to let you know, the fab in Chandigarh is leveraging a technology not from US, not from China, but from a company which is Israel based. And there are only few companies in the world who are, fab companies who are sharing technologies. So the world is taking the technologies from them. But in the future, I have, hopes and dreams. Until the meantime, why shouldn't we borrow the technology from somebody else? I believe in collective intelligence. I'll borrow the technology and build on it.
No, recently there was a news.
Yeah, just one request. So, my apologies when I saw so we have a presentation from Invest India, I think from the
Yes,
team.
my
So,
team.
so let's take that and then we'll go back to questions. I'm sure there'll be a lot more. So please go ahead.
Yes, yes.
Thank
And
you.
I
thank
think
you.
afterwards
Yeah.
here,
Thank you.
you can ask me
So
questions.
you can take the questions later in the question and answer session. So now I invite the team from Invest India for the presentations on economy and investments. So firstly, I invite Ms. Pallavi Magoo for the presentation on macroeconomy, India's growth trajectory, recent trends and reforms and initiatives taken to promote investments. Ms. Pallavi Magoo, please, Assistant Vice President, Invest India.
Very good morning to one and all present today. I'll quickly introduce myself. I am Pallavi Magoo from Invest India. I'm the co-lead on the specific team, Indian Investor Team. Invest India is a national investment promotion and facilitation agency, and it acts as a single point for investors in the country. What I'm planning to do, I'll do that. Is it better? Yeah. What I'm planning to do in the next 10 minutes is to take you through the size and the transformation of our country, which has witnessed in the last few years. And then we'll talk about few of the government reforms and how can we support in your growth journey as an Invest India. Starting from the first slide, which is about Indian beacon of the democracy and the growth. Firstly, I'll talk about the structure of the Indian economy. Currently, if you look at our economy, we are at $3.75 trillion. We became a trillion economy in 2007, and it took us 60 years to be a trillion economy. The second milestone that we reached was in 2014 when we reached to a 2 trillion economy. And since then, we have doubled ourselves to become a $3.75 trillion economy. We're also the largest and fastest growing economy in the world today. We registered a growth of 7.2% in FY 22-23, and projections are if we still grow at the same percentage in the coming years, and by that growth, we will be the third largest economy by end of this decade. In terms of not only that, we are only the fastest economy, but we are the most resilient economy. If you look at the growth period during the COVID period, our economy shrunk by over 24%. And within 365 days, that is 1 year, our economy bounced back and reached to a growth of 21%. We received the highest growth of exports during the period of COVID, that is 21 and 22. This reflects basically the resilience of our Indian economy. In terms of FDI, in the last 9 years, if you look at it, the annual FDI doubled in US, the 71 billion. Similarly, in terms of the sectors from which we receive the highest equity inflow are service sectors, auto, and telecom, to name the few. And some of the states which receive the highest FDI are Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. In the last 9 years, there has been 74% of growth in the annual exports. So just to summarize, the key takeaway from this slide would be, if we grow at the same pace like we are growing it, then it won't be easy, it won't be difficult to say that by the end of the decade, we'll be the third largest economy. Moving towards the second slide. So the first slide was about how Indian economy has grown and transformed. And in this slide, we'll be talking about what is fueling this economic growth. When we look at the consumption landscape in India, we are all aware that we are the most populous country today. interesting part towards it is that 65% of the total population is under the age of 35. We have the smartphone penetration rate of over 70% with the lowest cost of data in the world. If you look at the household segmentation and how it has performed over the last decade, if you look at the left side of the chart, then most of the maximum growth has come from the lower and the bottom one, which is the lower mid and the lower segment. But if you look at the projections for the coming years, that how it will perform, then by the next 10 years, the maximum growth is expected to grow from the upper middle and the topmost segment, which is at the top of the cone. Few interesting trends to see in the consumption landscape is our premiumization, which is you can see on the right side. If you look at the growth rates of the premium products in any company, and in the product segments, then there's a higher growth rate which is coming out from the premium products. Case in point, we can refer here to the luxury market in India, which is growing globally, which is growing at a more rate as compared to the globally. To quote the numbers, we are growing at a 20%. However, in terms of the global level, it's just at 10%. Similar picture is also being witnessed in the other segments like beauty and apparel as well. We are the economy where the internet penetration is highest. There has been an increase in growing urbanization. And if you look at the rising disposable income, there has been a more disposable income has been doubled in the last 10 years. And the projection we have per capita of $20,000 in the next 25 years. So just to summarize, the key takeaway from this slide would be the rising consumption will continue to fuel the economic growth. Moving towards the next slide. So in the first two slides, we have seen that how our economy has performed and what is fueling towards the growth of the Indian economy. Hereby, we'll be saying that how the government is helping the various industries to perform better and how they're helping in their growth journey. The reforms that are here are goods and services taxes, that is GST. It's one of the largest tax reform, a simplified single domestic indirect tax law, subsumming to 17 local levies and 17 cesses. And this has provided businesses in performing better in operations. The other one is new corporate tax code, which is among the lowest in the world, and where the companies are offered lower corporate tax of 17%. PMP, which is phased manufacturing program, wherein the graded tax structure is promoted to the indigenous manufacturing, as well as incentivizing the manufacturers of the low value components to be promoted first, and then moving towards the manufacturing of the higher value components. Moving towards the bonded warehouse, which is to providing the flexibility to the manufacturers, the domestic players in catering the different market demands. The government has allowed duty-free import of raw materials and capital goods for undertaking manufacturing in custom bounded warehouses. Moving towards the PLI, which is production linked incentives, there has been incentives for the incremental production, where the companies are incentivized on the achievement of the production and the investment targets. Next one is the Semicon Indian Mission. India is providing financial incentives worth USD 10 billion to develop the semiconductors and display the manufacturing ecosystem, which promises that driving long-term strategies for developing the semiconductor market in India. Moving ahead with the other government reforms, FDI liberalization. We have the most liberal FDI policy. Now, liberalization has taken place in almost all multiple sectors. To name the few are insurance, retail, coal, space. As well as if you look at the 80% of the FDI has come from the last few years is through the automatic route. Next one is the free trade agreement, which is about enhancing the Indian trade within the world. We are among the few countries in the world where FTI is signed within the less time frame of 88 days, and which was signed with UAE. And we are also in talks with the other countries like UK and Canada into the process of signing the FTAs. PDC, which is also known as project development cells. We have the dedicated teams to facilitate the investors, wherein there are almost like specialized teams created in 29 ministries. Invest India is part of these specialized teams where there has been a responsibility given to handhold and target the investors. Next one is the ease of doing business, wherein fostering the investors to provide the eco-friendly system. In 2014, we were at 142. The rank in terms of ease of doing business was at 142, and now we stand at 63. Going ahead with the National Single Window System, which is NSWS. It's a digital one-stop digital platform for the companies in identifying and obtaining clearances required to do businesses in India. Using NSWS, Indian businesses can obtain 275 G2B clearances with Ban India as a signed business identifier. Soon businesses will be able to access all G2B services using the PAN. So this was all about the government reforms, like how government has been helping Indian companies to perform better. As we have seen and understood the economic resilience and the history of our economy, let me take you through this slide wherein we have in the bolded letters, we have the Indian companies, wherein in the brackets, we have their parent companies. Of all the parameters, if we have looked at it, the growth has been more as compared to their parent companies, whether it's in terms of CAGR or whether it's in terms of latest profit margin or price to earnings, which clearly depicts that how we have been performing as compared to the global parents. Now coming to the slide, which talks about how as Invest India, we can help you. We are a single point of contact for your investments. We can help you with the pre-investment stage till the end by after the post-investment consultation as well. We can help you with the opportunity identification, any sectoral market research that we're looking for, any policy advices, or in terms of the location analysis, if we're looking for the land, so assessment in the land allotment, as well as in the term of issue redressal as well, in terms of if there is any issues need to be redressed with the state or the central government, and also helping you in the expediting the approvals. We are your partner in the growth across the value chain of your investment. This is our portal, which you can see it on the website. We have a dedicated Microsoft for the microsite for the investors, which supports the domestic investors at all stages, from finding an investment opportunity to registering into a business unit by exploring the incentives. Herein, you will also find the daily updates on the new initiatives taken by the central and the state government, as well as any approvals, licenses, or clearances, or any incentives and schemes, or you're looking for the comparisons across the states, then this is the one-stop destination to look for. That is Atmanirbhar Niveshak Mitra portal. Thank you for your time. This is what about the macroeconomy. And next up, I'll give it to Rishabh Patel.
Thank you, Ms. Pallavi Magoo, for highlighting various strengths of the Indian economy, like improvement in the ease of doing business, then the national single window system, then IPRS, so many reforms undertaken by the DPIIT and Invest India. Thank you very much. So now we invite Mr. Rishabh Katyal, Assistant Vice President, Invest India, for highlighting the focus sectors of Delhi, key industrial areas, and best practices. Mr. Rishabh Katyal, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning to our esteemed guest of honor, Ms. Nivruti, MD and CEO, Invest India, Mr. Saket Dalmia, President, PhD, CCI, industry representatives, and everyone gathered from various organizations, PhD, CCI, and Invest India. As a brief introduction, I'm Rishabh Katyal, and I'm leading states at Invest India and also India Industrial Land Bank. So Delhi is one of the states, one of the 8 states I'm leading. So today I will be speaking on the investment ecosystem of Delhi, the key focus sectors, and also regarding the digital initiative of DPIIT, which is the India Industrial Land Bank, and how it is helping investors support their decision making in choosing the land of their preferred choice. So as we all know that Delhi is the vibrant capital city of India, and it offers a compelling investment landscape. Its strategic location, robust infrastructure, and diverse economy make it a prime destination for investors. The unique feature is that the urbanization rate of the city is 97.5%, which is not only significant but also unparalleled in the country, in our country. This large urbanization brings about a rich mix of culture, businesses, and technology in one place. In terms of connectivity, Delhi boasts the largest railway network, metro rail network in India, and also the airports cater to the international and domestic travelers. And in terms of power, Delhi has an installed capacity power of more than 7,500 megawatt, which prepares it for the industrial and residential growth. Delhi is also leading the green energy revolution in the nation and has set a benchmark in terms of EV adoption. More than 1 lakh EVs are being utilized currently since the implementation of the city's EV policy in August 2020, with 65% of the sales being for two-wheelers and three-wheelers. Delhi is also among the top 5 states in terms of FDI inflow. And as per DPIIT data, between October 2019 and June 2023, it attracted an FDI inflow of over 2 lakh crores, echoing the confidence global investors place in the region. The region has also seen a 15% year-on-year increase in GSDP and has a thriving ecosystem that houses over 9,000 startups. When we talk about the industrial areas within Delhi, there are already 29 planned industrial areas, estates in the city, and Delhi also has 4 flatted factories in the city as well. These industrial estates and the flatted factories ensure ample opportunities for industries to set base and expand. Moving on to the focus sectors of Delhi, I would firstly like to talk about tourism. So when we talk about tourism, Delhi is historically and politically significant. The city is also known for staging global and national events, which enhances its appeal for tourists and businesses alike, with G20 as the upcoming event on a global scale. Almost half of India's international visitors chose Delhi as a key point of entry to India in 2021, cementing its status as a premier tourist hotspot, with some of the prominent attractions being Qutub Minar, Red Fort, and Humayun's tomb. But beyond these traditional tourist spots, the city also provides vast tourism opportunities, with medical tourism being one of them. The city has already witnessed rise of global patients seeking treatments and is a testament to the quality and reliability of the medical infrastructure being provided in the city. The same city is also home to the luxury and premium hotels and at the same time to budget accommodations as well, showcasing its potential in the hospitality sector. And with the global shift towards health and wellness, Delhi has the potential to become a hub for wellness tourism, offering from yoga retreats to spa retreats. And finally, in terms of entertainment, considering the city's cosmopolitan demographic, theme parks can be the next big thing. Delhi's tourism and hospitality sector is thriving and is full of opportunities for forward thinking investors and companies to make their mark. And while talking about the focus sectors of Delhi, we cannot leave education out of it because some of the premier institutes of the country are based in Delhi. Some of those being AIMS, Delhi University, IITs, FMS, and many other premier institutes, which provide a platform for the youth not only to thrive, but also to contribute towards the development of the country in various fields. The thriving education system is the growing trust of our community, and a 21% rise in student enrollments has been seen since 2015, which highlights the growing confidence in Delhi's public education models. Delhi is also focusing on digital transformation and making the education system digitized with an ambitious initiative of setting up more than 2,000 digital classrooms by 2025, ensuring students are prepared for a modern and technology driven world. There are many opportunities in the education sector in the capital, which include investing in skill upgradation centers in Delhi, which bridge the gap between academia and industry, ensuring a workforce that's ready for tomorrow. With Industry 4.0 shaping global industries, there's a huge potential in introducing programs tailored to this new industrial evolution. And also investments in R&D programs can lead to breakthroughs, making Delhi an innovation powerhouse. Beyond the conventional sectors, establishing institutions focused on non-conventional sectors can cater to a wide range of interests and passions, creating a diverse talent pool. With the right investment and focus in Delhi's education sector, the city can remain at the epicenter of India's academic and skills revolution. Next, we have IT and ITES. Delhi aims to become a significant IT hub in Asia, and the state government has already prioritized advancing IT and ITES sectors as a top priority. The growth in Delhi NCR's data center capacity is expected to see a staggering 2.2x jump in just 2 years, which indicates not only a growing digital technology, but also the infrastructural preparedness of the region. The Delhi is also excelling in exports related to IT and ITES. Delhi's software technology parks have shown global relevance with exports reaching to more than 2,300 crore INR in 2018-19. To put this in perspective, the continuous upward trend of exports indicates Delhi's emerging prominence on the global IT map. In terms of opportunities, Delhi presents a ripe platform for setting up innovation hubs. NCAR region has consistently birthed unicorns from the region, with 13 in the past 10 years, and these can be the birthplace for future unicorns as well, given the city's talent pool and connectivity. As IT companies expand, so does the demand for IT dedicated IT parks. The investors can tap into this demand, offering state-of-the-art facilities tailored for tech giants and startups alike. And with the surge in digitization, opportunities in data centers and cloud services are immense. As businesses migrate online, their reliance on data services will only grow. In summary, Delhi's IT and ITES sector is thriving, and with the government backing, infrastructural growth, and a vast array of opportunity, it beckons investors and companies to leverage its potential. And finally, when we speak about electric vehicles, Delhi is one of the first cities to commit to a greener future. And in this, we have seen an exponential growth in EV registrations aided by the robust EV policy of Delhi. An impressive 86% increase has been seen in EV registration from 2020 to 2023, which underscores a clear shift towards sustainable mobility among Delhi citizens. So infrastructure remains the backbone of any successful EV adoption, with 2,500 EV charging stations up and running by mid 2023. Delhi ensures that driving an EV is not just eco-friendly but also convenient. Along with this, a lot of opportunity presents to the to the UT of Delhi. First being the increasing number of EVs translates to a rising demand for charging infrastructure. Investment in fast charging stations and charging parks can cater to the ever-growing fleet of EVs in Delhi. The EV sector being ever evolving, we can also establish R&D hubs in Delhi which can focus on enhancing EV technologies from more efficient drive trains to innovative energy storage solutions. And finally, as EV adoption grows, so will the need for battery recycling, and investing in EV battery recycling plants can ensure that environment sustainability is maintained at every step. We have already spoken about the key industrial areas which are enabling the manufacturing sector within Delhi. And there are 29 key industrial areas as was mentioned before. However, the key industrial areas which we would like to mention here would be the IT and ITES SEZ in Baparola. There's Narela Industrial Complex, Kirti Nagar Industrial Area, and the Okla Industrial Area. While we're on the topic of industrial areas, I would also like to introduce an initiative of DPIIT, which is the India Industrial Land Bank supported by Invest India and BISAC N as its technical partner, which is a centralized GIS-based industrial land bank, which in the it's a centralized GIS-based industrial land bank where the industrial parks across the country have been mapped onto one common platform from across states and UTs. Currently, 35 states and UTs have already integrated their industrial land bank onto our platform, and more than 3,900 industrial parks have been mapped over an area of 1.236 million acres of total land, out of which 336,000 acres of land is available for potential investors. So what the system does is that it provides an investor with information for each industrial park with regards to its internal infrastructure, external infrastructure, business support services, and also environment and sustainability. So based on these factors, an investor can make an informed decision as to where they would like to invest within India. So sitting at home remotely, they can take these decisions. So in addition to the 35 states and UTs integrated onto the land bank, onto the IILB, industrial land of 6 central ministries and departments has also already been also mapped onto this platform. Those being the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Department of Fisheries, MITI, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ministry of Food Processing Industries, NICDC, and Salt Pan Land. Additionally, the platform is also integrated with the PM Gati Shakti as well to see the different layers of logistics, which will further aid an investor in taking informed decision regarding the land which they want to acquire. Also, additionally, the ILB also has its own mobile app, which is available on Android and iOS stores as well. So while talking about IILB, the state, we'll also just see a small snapshot of status of Delhi on the India Industrial Land Bank. Delhi had integrated its industrial parks onto the ILB platform in July 2022, which was part of the phase 4 of the workshops we had concluded with different states and UTs. 31 parks have already been integrated, out of which 7 industrial parks are integrated with the plot level details. So the image which you can see in front of you is how an industrial park would look like on the India Industrial Land Bank, with the yellow plots showcasing that most of the plots in this industrial park, and mostly in case of Delhi, are allotted. The green plots would showcase the plots which are vacant, and the purple plots, which you can see there are very tiny purple plots, they would be the reserved plots. The total area mapped is 6,100 acres of land, out of which 1,900 acres of land is available for allotment for the investors. And the most of the sectors which are mapped for the Delhi parks are mixed. So there are no very specific parks for a specific industry, but rather there are mostly mixed sector parks for Delhi existing. And finally, talking about industrial park rating system, it is nothing but an extension of India Industrial Land Bank, and the final output is in a form of report. It is again a DPIIT initiative in which the states and UTs are invited to nominate their best industrial parks. This was initiated in 2018. The pilot phase was launched in November 2018. Most recently, in October 2021, we came up with the Industrial Park Rating System 2.0, in which we had received nominations from 31 states and UTs, and there were 478 nominations, out of which 449 industrial parks and SEZs were assessed. This also included SEZs and private parks as well. And the feedback in the initial pilot phase, there was only feedback from the developers. However, in IPRS 2.0, we had taken feedback from developers as well as tenants, 60% from the developers and 40% from the tenants. So two of the industrial parks nominated by Delhi were assessed, and they both categorized as aspirers. One was in Badli and one was in Patparganj. The team also held a one-on-one gap assessment workshop with the NCT of Delhi on 10th March 2023 to showcase the possible gaps which we had identified in their industrial parks, and also presented to them the proposed solutions which they can adopt to mitigate these gaps. And finally, we also held the national workshop on IPRS, which was held very recently on 1st July 2023, with an objective of collaborating with industry associations, with states and UT central departments to enhance the industrial ecosystem within the country. This was chaired by the Secretary DPIIT, and we had seen participation of more than 20 states and union territories, out of which 7 states were invited to showcase their best practices across industrial parks on various themes, such as ease of doing business, internal infrastructure, external infrastructure. And there was also a very interesting panel discussion on creating smart and eco-industrial parks with innovative financing solutions, where we had panelists from across central ministries, state governments, multilaterals, and yeah, multilaterals. So having spoken about these initiatives, IILB and IPRS are very powerful tools which hold the potential to transform the investment ecosystem in the country and also enhance the investor journey in the country. The department is constantly upgrading these tools and will increase the outreach for utilization by various stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rishabh Katyal, for highlighting the various opportunities available in Delhi industrial investments and the IPRS system and so many reforms undertaken by the government, particularly DPIIT and Invest India during the last few years. And we attended this workshop on the IPRS system, and we were very much part of this workshop. So we look forward that these reforms are continue, and India is becoming more and more lucrative in the global investment charts. So now moving ahead, I would like to invite Shivam Batham, Senior Assistant Vice President, Invest India, for highlighting the various incentives and policies of the neighboring states. So that is also I think significant to know about the various incentives by the neighboring states to know and to compare the incentives and to move forward for the more and more investments by the investment community. So Mr. Shivam Batham, please.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Rishabh, for that insightful presentation. Hi, everyone. My name is Shivam Batham. Very good afternoon to everybody. I look at Northern India at Invest India, except for Delhi, which is looked after by Rishabh. So since most of the people here are based out of Delhi and have industrial setups in and around Delhi, so we thought that it would be a good idea to showcase what other states of Northern India, especially the ones around Delhi, have to offer. So in this presentation, I'll be covering 4 states, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and UP, which are neighboring Delhi and which are competing for the attention of industries very proactively. And this analysis is not a mathematical or a one-to-one analysis. It's a subjective discussion on what each state has put out uniquely in terms of their policies, in terms of their incentives, and what doing in terms to promote their industrial ecosystem. So let's first discuss Punjab first. It is a very proactive state looking to attract MSMEs, looking to attract large investments. It is one of the top states in the EODB ranking conducted by DPIIT in 2020. And it has one of the best IPAs or investment promotion agencies in the country, which is Invest Punjab. Now, this Invest Punjab is single-handedly, creating all the approvals and passing all the facilitation to the investors. A very powerful body which is creating a very unique ecosystem in the state, and very few states can match that. Coming to the industrial policy, especially for MSMEs, which is offered by Punjab. Now, when I discuss about the policies which each state has to offer, I'm not going to discuss about, what each state, every state offers, like capital subsidy or interest subsidy. I'm going to discuss something which every state uniquely offers. So for example, in Punjab, there is interest subsidy for border districts. So if you invest in some border districts away from the, very close to the international border, they give you additional 2 to 3% interest subsidy for locating your industries there. And coming to the reimbursement charged under the Credit Guarantee Fund, which is the scheme under the Ministry of MSME. So there, once you submit the guarantee fee is also reimbursed by the Punjab government of Punjab. They even reimburse the expenses you incur when you undergo an audit, be it a performance audit or a financial audit, up to a certain limit. So these are some of the unique features that Punjab has to offer in terms of incentives. In terms of the industrial ecosystem, they provide you financial assistance to conduct buyer-seller meets, to improve your designs of your products, to conduct a vendor development program, and even when you're exporting out of the country, they provide you a subsidy on the freight up to a certain limit. Discussing some of the major industrial developments that are happening in the state, it is one of the few states which has a very good private industrial park ecosystem. So a lot of players like Hind Terminals, Adani, Concor are already present in the state. And it has a number of private industrial parks which are coming up along the Amritsar-Kolkata industrial corridor, which is starting from Amritsar and going up till Kolkata. And a large part of it is being developed now by the Punjab Industries Department, with industrial parks coming right along that corridor. It has a new international airport coming up in Ludhiana, which will now increase the number of international airports in the state to 3. And finally, the Amritsar-Jamnagar Expressway, the Rajasthan part of it was recently launched by the Honorable PM. So that is being sped up, and this will be launched hopefully in the next year. That will provide a straight connection from Punjab to Gujarat via Rajasthan. So that will be a port access that the companies can do to facilitate export of their goods to the ports. Coming to Haryana. So Haryana is very unique. It has, in terms of policies, it has some of the most simple policies in the state. Very few pages, very simple incentive structure. Coming to the incentives that they provide, they have divided the Haryana state into 4 blocks, A, B, C, D. So the A being the most developed and D being the least developed. So the incentives that the industries get depends on the blocks that they're situated in. So if you're situated in the least developing block, you'll get more incentives, and vice versa. And they also give price preference to MSMEs when they procure goods, when the government procures goods in public tenders. They also give employment generation subsidy to entrepreneurs and industries when the employment is being provided to the state residents. So for Haryana residents, when you employ them, you get a certain amount of money back into a company. Coming to the unique features of the state, so they have a rapid assessment system where they're continuously monitoring any services that you're providing digitally to the state, to the entrepreneurs. So any e-service, any kind of business approvals that you're submitting to the state, it is being continuously evaluated, and a feedback is given to each department that this service is not being provided efficiently, this is causing delay, and so on. They have a very good e-Bhumi portal, which is a land portal where you can do all the property registration, all the property buying and selling itself on that portal. And they're also coming up with a means council, which is an MSME Advancement and Nurturing Support Council, which will be housed under the Industries Department and will be a dedicated body to handhold MSMEs in the state. Coming to the EODB of the state, they have 36 industrial townships known as industrial model townships, or IMT, and being very close to Delhi, a lot of them are in very high demand. So for example, IMT Sohna, which is very close to Gurgaon, is in very high demand, and prices go sometimes very high because of the high demand. They provide deemed clearances to all MSMEs within 15 days, and there is also provision that you don't have to renew or reapply for those clearances. So these are some of the key features that they're doing in terms of EODB. Coming to the infrastructure development, again, a very proactive state in terms of attracting investments. They have, the Eastern Peripheral Expressway going through the state, the Trans Haryana and the Kundli Expressway. Now they're coming up with a Manesar Palwal Expressway. So that is being developed. Apart from that, there are 8 SEZs, something that very close to NCR you wouldn't get in a state. And in terms of logistics, they have 9 ICDs, 3 CFS, and 8 PFTs. So good ecosystem in terms of logistics and infrastructure. And they have a new airport coming up at Hisar, which will be a state of the art, almost competing with Jewar Airport in Noida. Now coming to the state of UP, now what they do in terms of sectoral policies, they have defined around 18 to 20 sectors, and they're coming up with policies for each one of them. And they provide a very unique feature that they categorize marginalized sections and women entrepreneurs and provide additional subsidies in terms of interest subsidy, in terms of capital subsidy to those sections as well. When you procure, let's say you're a food processing unit and you want to procure from the mandi, so there is exemption on the mandi fees also. They also provide reimbursement on the EPFs that you're giving to the employees. So some of the unique policies we are seeing in UP. Coming to the EODB, they have technical and management institutes in each district. So they are the ones who will be hand-holding and guiding you about the transformation that you want to do within your company, how to improve your designs, how to improve your product qualities. They have an investor facilitation cell to guide investors and MSMEs. They have a very good Nivesh Sarthi portal, which is a application portal where you can apply for your incentives. They will allot one relationship manager to you, which will handle you through your entire investment journey. They have a gold scheme card for mega investors, wherein they will provide you a card which will allow all access within all government departments. They are strengthening up their UP Trade Promotion Authority, which will be the sole authority for facilitating trade and exports in the state. Some of the major infrastructure developments that are coming in the state. It is known as the land of expressways. There are already 7 functional expressways with 3 or 4 coming up. They are developing flatted factories on their own, as well as tying up with private industrial parks to come up with flatted factories so that MSMEs can rise up vertically rather than horizontally. They have a very good upcoming airport in Jewar, which will be one of the largest airports in the country when fully operational by 2029. In terms of textiles, they are one of the few northern states which are a dedicated PM Mitra Park, which was recently launched by the Honorable PM. It is inaugurated and supposed to be fully operational in the next 2 to 3 years. Lastly, discussing Rajasthan. So a very unique point about Rajasthan is that in similar terms to Punjab, it has very few policies. It has 2-3 policies which list out all the incentives for all the sectors. When we discuss incentives, it has a unique asset creation incentive, which is a capital interest subsidy plus a capital equipment subsidy combined incentive for industries. It is also providing incentives for fundraising of SMEs when you apply through platforms provided by SEBI or other platforms which are used by MSMEs for fundraising. Again, no prior approvals required for MSMEs under state laws, all deemed approvals, no need to reapply or to renew your approvals. In terms of EODB, there is exemptions for licenses and approvals up to 3 years. There is a dedicated Japanese zone in Imrana and Gilot, which has created a very good ecosystem for Japanese entrepreneurs and their ancillaries. It is very close to Delhi, and they're expanding that zone. Again, and in terms of investment promotion center, they have a very good body known as the Bureau of Investment Promotion, a very proactive body which is providing land, which is known as RICO. In terms of infrastructure development, they're coming up with smart industrial areas, which will be digitized, integrated with AI, with camera setups, with police forces. They have a dedicated police force for industrial areas, which will be like a CISF for industrial areas. Coming to the Amritsar Jamnagar Expressway, which started from Punjab, a majority chunk of it is passing through Rajasthan, which will spur the growth in the interior parts of Rajasthan. The DMIC corridor, the maximum chunk of it, which is passing through Rajasthan, and there are various townships and industrial areas which are being set up along the DMIC. In terms of logistics infrastructure, there are various companies, Concor, Adani, which are coming up near Delhi. Similarly, they're trying to promote PCPIRs, financial parks near Jaipur. They're trying to promote two-tier cities like Udaipur, like Jaisalmer, like Jodhpur. So a unique ecosystem, one which you'll not find in any other part of the country. In terms of the overall ecosystem of Northern India, all I can say in conclusion is that each state has something unique to offer. When you go in that state and you find difficulty, that's when Invest India comes in to facilitate you. We have a dedicated MSME team, Indian industries team, which helps to handhold you. I look after Northern India here at Invest India. So if there are any questions on incentives or on facilitation, on the know-how, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivam, for highlighting and comparing the incentive policies of the various states. And these are very, very useful for the investors to make decisions. So going forward, I would like to invite Vaibhav Yadav, Assistant Manager, Invest India TBC, for highlighting the national single window system features and how industries can avail benefits of NSWS. Mr. Vaibhav Yadav, please.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to everyone present here. Just a brief about myself. I am Vaibhav. I have been a part of the NSWS team right from its inception 3 years ago. And I've been in the core team for the NSWS platform. And I'm here to talk about how the NSWS platform is really facilitating ease of doing business in the new India. All of us present here are aware of the G2B landscape in India, right? We have the central ministries and departments at a central level, whereas there are also states, districts, and different authorities at the state level. Now, within the complexity of this entire ecosystem is where the national single window comes in as a one-stop shop for all regulatory approvals, clearances, and business-related information that is required by any business in India across the center and the state level. Just about the platform, its inception was within the FY 2020-2021 budget, wherein the finance minister announced that there should be an investment clearance cell, which will act as the one-stop for all business-related approvals, clearances, and information, along with grievance redressal for these approvals and clearances. That moment was really the birth of the platform, and since then, we as Invest India were given the charge to execute the project. And along with our technical partners, TCS, which is Tata Consultancy Services, which is one of the leading IT consulting firms within the world, we have built the NSWS platform within 18 months. This 18-month period, right from the inception to the soft launch in September 2021, involved a lot of stakeholder consultations from the industry associations such as PhD chamber, along with the ministries, states, and the actual policy makers which are at play for these business-related services. And the initial scope of the portal was just 3 operational approvals which are required to establish a business or set up shop in India. Now, since then, since September 2021, our scope has continuously evolved. We've started to include different schemes such as the vehicle scrapping facility and also the Indian Footwear and Leather Development Program, which is a total outlay of 1,700 crores within the NSWS platform. And both of these schemes are being driven end to end on the NSWS portal. A similar example is basis industry feedback and guidance by the ministries and states. We were asked to include all the different types of transactions which are there for any regulatory approval or clearance, because getting a fresh approval is just the start of the entire process. You need to get renewals in certain cases. You need to amend your approval in certain cases. So the inclusion of these different transactions was a key pillar for us to increase the utility of the platform. And after that, the journey came full circle within, the recent budget. It was announced that the PAN number or the PAN ID will be used as the Aadhaar of a business, eliminating the need of, remembering multiple different IDs across different digital platforms and acting as the one source of identification for a business. Now that is also being implemented by NSWS being a marquee platform for that, and we are in constant consultation and deliberation with these ministries, departments, and states to implement this PAN as the single business ID. And in terms of expansion of scope, PM Gati Shakti is also a marquee project of our Prime Minister, which focuses on infrastructure projects and the relevant NOCs and renewals required for the PM Gati Shakti scheme will be available on NSWS, and our team is continuously working to achieve this milestone as well. How were we able to achieve all of this? So just to put it into perspective, the G2B ecosystem with the regulatory services and processes being the basis of, the basis or the glue between all the industry players and the governments, both at the central and the state level. The NSWS platform is in a unique position wherein we can firstly understand the needs of the industry through industry associations, through interaction with businesses, through a closed feedback loop, and also accommodate the requirements or the workflows of central ministries, departments, and states, which are the actual authorities or our policy makers who are at play here. And this unique opportunity, which encompasses the government at one sphere and the industry at one sphere, is the union of these two spheres is the National Single Window Platform. Just trying to summarize the massive scope of the platform within three key pillars for any digital system, such as people, process, and technology. Our team has been interacting with more than 1,000 stakeholders, both at a central and a state level. This includes, actual technical teams such as the NIC in certain ministries and departments, to the authoritative decision makers from the joint secretaries to the secretaries of each ministry and department, and also the chief secretaries at a state level. So our team has been interacting with the entire gamut of, the people aspect of any platform, and especially the G2B platform that is NSWS. In terms of processes, we've understood and mapped more than 3,500 G2B services and processes, which includes the different types of transactions for each service, such as renewal, amendment, certain NOCs which are required, certain prerequisites for any approval or NOC. So the understanding of these processes is our basis of creating this platform, which should accommodate all these processes and the people who are at play here. And just to put into perspective, how technology is being leveraged here, we are integrated with 75 plus central and state level web portals through different levels of maturity. Since every portal will have their own infrastructure, will have their own digital ecosystem. So our team has worked continuously to integrate with 75 plus systems. And this involves the end-to-end life cycle for an approval, right from, the registration on the NSWS platform to getting these approvals through different agencies who are granting these approvals, and also accommodating the processes which are at play, like payments, like getting documents, like getting approvals finally as an outcome of these processes. So all of it is being managed on the NSWS platform, just to give perspective on how massive this entire exercise has been. Now, what has been the outcome of this entire exercise? Just in terms of usage and coverage here, we are integrated with 32 central ministries and departments at a central level. At the state level, we are integrated with 22 state single window systems. And for certain states, we've also built the entire state single window system using the NSWS infrastructure, such as Nagaland, such as Daman and Diu, thus enhancing their capability and enhancing their digital footprint so to say, and establishing their single window through the basic modules that have been developed on NSWS. We have more than 1 lakh businesses registered on the platform already, ranging from sole proprietors to limited liability partnerships to incorporated companies, covering the entire gamut of the different type of business entities that are there in India. More than 2 lakh applications have already been granted through the platform. This includes the different schemes and approvals which are being granted. As my colleague Pallavi mentioned, that more than 275 approvals can be applied through NSWS at a central level. So that has led to more than 2 lakh approvals being granted and more than 3 lakh approvals being submitted on the platform. And just to point out the schemes that are there on the NSWS platform, we've received more than 170 applications for the registration of vehicle scrapping facilities across multiple states. And in the Indian Footwear and Leather Development Program, more than 100 crores Indian rupees have been dispersed through the NSWS platform, making it a great success in terms of how schemes can also be accommodated within the platform. And as the operation keeps expanding, there are a lot of grievances which are to be addressed at a central level. So this becomes the centralized grievance redressal mechanism or the platform wherein a business facing any difficulty in a particular service or approval or any technical difficulties can reach out to one source, which is the NSWS, and get their queries addressed. So we've been able to resolve 56,000 investor queries ranging from technical issues to business specific queries. So what is the exact value that the NSWS platform brings? So if you look at the pre and the post single window, the classification here, it's majorly across 3 broad elements. One is information. So we've aggregated information for all G2B services at a central and state level. Through our Know Your Approval module, you can go through an intelligent set of questionnaires and identify the type of regulatory clearances and approvals which are required for your business. That is the Know Your Approval module. So we've aggregated information in that sense. Now, the second aspect is applications. So once you've identified what type of approvals are required, you can actually apply for those approvals on NSWS by using our unified dashboard, wherein you as a business entity have to create your profile just once and can apply for multiple approvals going forward. And the status of all these approvals, both at a central and a state level, can be seen on one unified dashboard. And we've also removed duplication of information and effort through auto population of information across forms, so that once you've filled information about your business entity, you don't have to do it again and again. And what has finally been created is a national asset for ease of doing business, wherein we've been able to establish a single interface for businesses, reducing the need of multiple portals and the interactions that are required to get approvals. Information symmetry and transparency, both at a central and state level, giving you aggregated information, for your specific sector or business. A centralized grievance redressal mechanism where we are able to resolve business-centric and technical queries on one single platform, and giving policymakers the data that is required to make insightful and data-based decisions. If oil is the, data is the oil of the 21st century, then the NSWS platform is actually the refinery for that analogy there. And we've also built a technology accelerator wherein any government portal or any new scheme which is being launched can leverage the existing infrastructure that is there, the digital infrastructure that is there, and launch a new scheme or a reform within 30 to 60 days. So that is about the NSWS platform.
Thank you, Weberji, for providing a great possibility of investment for and features of the industries and how the industries can avail the benefits of NSWS. So going forward, I would like to invite Rishabh Dwivedi, Assistant Vice President, India Investment Grid, IIG, information about invisible opportunities in India. So, Mr. Rishabh Dwivedi ji, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rishabh. I'll give a brief introduction. I work with a dynamic and a capable team at Invest India. Together, we're building this platform called India Investment Grid, which basically is the official opportunity discovery platform of Government of India. Uh, this has been developed with the support of DPIIT, and our core mandate is to promote, search, and connect investable opportunities with potential investors from across the country and across the world. Uh, on the platform, you would see close to around 15,000 plus projects, which are both greenfield and brownfield in nature. There are many stressed assets also that are listed. This is with the insolvency board. Um, Along with this, many CSR projects which can be invested in. And then we are also working along with Niti Aayog and IFC on two new initiatives, the National Monetization Pipeline and the Green Pipeline. In addition to this, we've also been chosen as the PMU for National Infrastructure Pipeline. So any infrastructure project that is running in the country with a value of 100 CR plus is listed on the IIG portal. So any investor who wants to look at those look at those opportunities, join hands with the state or the central government in a PPP mode, or also come in as a vendor and provide their services, are most welcome to explore the platform. What the platform provides for different type of audiences. For investors, it's a one-stop source for all the project information. You can easily search by a range of search filters, including state, sector, etc. In each investors also get their own customized dashboards to track the different projects, how they're performing, etc. And this is also a single source for opportunities for the investors. For promoters and states, I'll cover together. It basically provides a worldwide promotion for their projects. The portal is viewed by close to around 5 million plus viewers across the world. We have viewership from 190 plus countries where all these projects can be promoted to. The promoters also get to engage with the investors one-on-one and understand their requests, their requirements. We also facilitate these engagements at the initial stages and do the sort of matchmaking between the promoters and the investors. I was also talking about the national infrastructure pipeline because that's also a very important part. So, Honorable Finance Minister, along with DEA, basically in August 2020, we were given this mandate of hosting all the projects that are under the national infrastructure pipeline on the portal. So this actually becomes the only consolidated real-time repository of large infrastructure projects in India. The pipeline currently showcases close to around $1,800 or $1,800 billion worth of projects. This includes almost all infra ministries, 34 plus infra subsectors. This provides DEA, the investors, and finance ministry with progress monitoring. So once you're invested in a particular project, you also can monitor the progress on a monthly or a quarterly basis, which becomes very valuable for any investor which is coming on the portal. I should also mention that along with NIP, the portal has been integrated with the project monitoring group, PMG, which monitors the projects more than 500 CR at the PMO level. This is again, I think some of my colleagues here mentioned under the PM Gati Shakti initiative. The initiative is to develop a common database of integrated functionality of all projects in all infrastructure projects across the portals. So what we do is, therefore, we have this one common upload form on which all the information of the projects is entered, and then all of
this goes and fetches into a dashboard, which is then visible to the ministries, the investors, based on the filters of their liking. We expanded the scope of this, and then we also integrated with many ministries so that the data upload part for the ministries becomes easy. So we reached out to all 32 ministries, and now we are actually integrating ourselves with all of these ministries so that the portal becomes a single point for data entry for all the ministries across. The integration is underway with 5 of the ministries. We recently completed with petrol and natural gas, which was a tremendous task and a big achievement. So for the promotion of these projects, we also do a lot of outreach activities. Outreach includes showcasing these opportunities at many international events. So wherever there are international events, we try to set up a screen, a kiosk where the investors can come in and look at these projects and make these connects, etc. This is the Honorable Prime Minister at a Russia event. This is the Eastern Economic Forum, pre-COVID, definitely, where we set up a kiosk where he interacted with the screen and looked at the opportunities that are available. In India, with various global investors meet across states, that's also where we reach out to various investors and connect them with opportunities that are there. We have a very vibrant digital media campaigning, etc. We are available on Twitter, Coup, etc., with more than 80,000 followers, meaningful followers, investors, promoters alike. So we reach out to them and then promote all these projects through social media so that some interest can be garnered through these mediums. So an important part of our work also happens because we work with governments very closely. So to sensitize and engage with governments on developing packaging projects in a way that it is more interesting for investors. So some examples: we did a smart cities showcase with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. This was received very well, and we were able to promote a lot of housing and urban affairs projects through these kind of showcase events. The other one was with startups. So we showcased a lot of startups in the InfraTech workshop, where we laid out what kind of innovations can startups fulfill for different ministries, etc. NTPC, towards the end of this challenge, NTPC actually took up 2 startups under their fold and used their innovation in their own operations. So which was a big success for the startups themselves. And this also provided them to reach out to multiple other investors and raise money for themselves. With states, we also have released many opportunity reports, opportunity booklets. This is as recent as January in the MP Global Investor Summit, where we reached out to, where we actually did a booklet for all the opportunities. And similarly, with Uttar Pradesh as well, we did a lot of capacity building for the government officials to help them package their projects in a way that is interesting for investors, and therefore did a lot of capacity building. As a result, we were able to garner a lot of investor interest. Yeah, so that's it from IIG. I think as a next step, I would request all of you to explore the portal. It's completely free of cost, and at least you'll be able to understand the kind of projects that are listed there. Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Rishabh Dwivedi, for very informative presentation, and we look forward that all these opportunities are becoming becoming visible at the ground level, and there is more and more awareness about these opportunities at the ground level, in the villages and in the block level, at the district level, because now we have spreaded information at the metro level, but we have to spread this information in our next series of the India investment opportunities at the other cities like Jaipur, Chandigarh, Lucknow, and other capitals. So that all these reforms and opportunities are becoming more and more informative about the opportunities available in India, and people are aware, businesses are aware about to avail such kind of opportunities. So now I request Ms. Pallavi Magoo to moderate the session for the question answers.
Thank you so much. So we are open for the question and answer round. So if you have any questions, kindly please raise your hand and our team will answer your questions accordingly. Yes, please.
I just wanted, I'm S.C. Hans, basically a professional. I just wanted to know how much time normally the Government of India or the PNG Chamber of Commerce takes it total time of seeking complete approval in all respects. Once we apply, they make an application for a startup. How much time normally it takes? Any idea? But if you apply for single window services, is that all enough? Is there
There
a
are different approvals that are on single.
How much
Each
time?
approval will take different time. Vaibhav, can you give an idea on some of the approvals that are taking time and if there has been any reduction in the approval of some of the applications?
So sir, every authority, processes these applications independently, right?
Right.
And every application, requires thorough scrutiny and analysis before any decision can be made. But in terms of average timelines, if there are available, they're there on the platform for each approval. For example, for a startup, as it's with Invest India, it's been granted within 48 hours.
48 hours.
Yeah, on average.
Depends on what approval is required and plus like Rishabh and Shivam had mentioned that there are also some of the states that are coming up with deemed approval. They are giving a timeline that within this time, this much timeline, if approval is not given, it will be a deemed approval. So it all depends on which application is being applied for.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Mr. Shub Kataria, there was reference about e-vehicle. The way e-vehicle has a problem of battery, and we have 4 types of extinguisher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for this type of vehicle, we don't have extinguisher. How you are going to deal if there is a blast or some emergency situation?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of your word?
We don't have an extinguisher to take care of this problem if there is a safety. So how to deal this?
I mean, the answer to that would be, creating a more robust ecosystem or infrastructure related to all these queries. So, something which you just highlighted would need to be addressed on a higher level with the Delhi government. That's all I can say right now.
If there is a problem in battery, if it is a blast, we don't have any deal situation how to deal extinguisher. We have 4 types of, they are different, and this type of batteries are different. The gas is also a problem. So how to deal this? Gas is a big issue.
Discussion is more technical on the technical side. So whether you are equipped to answer the technical side of it, what if the battery blasts? Or you would answer only the investment side of it.
I can only answer the investment side related to this.
So I had one question, Vaibhav, with regard to this India investment grid that you were talking about. So this grid, sorry. Oh, sorry. Rishabh. Oh, okay. It was Rishabh. So in the grid, I believe it is only the government projects which are listed as of now. And not all the ministries and only selected projects of each ministries, the ones that they want to give out. What is the whole thing now?
So it does list down private projects as well. Private promoters can also list their projects.
Okay.
There are certain projects which definitely the ministries, if they want to promote, etc. For instance, there was a UP night safari, which is the first of its kind in the country, which got promoted on the portal last month. And it definitely depends on the promoters if they want to reach out to us. So the cycle is that the promoters initiate this conversation with IIG. They say that this is something that we want to promote, and we want other investors to come on to the come be a part of this. And then we take that project and then promote it, advertise it, talk to investors, etc. This happens largely with the government projects. With private projects, they can definitely list them on the portal, but we uh, and those are definitely listed, but we do not promote them aggressively because we may not be able to verify them. So that's the larger.
Okay, so even in the government projects, there is an apprehension that only those projects uh, which has lesser interest of investors would be kind of put there and promoted.
No, sir. So the one that I'm talking about, like the night safari one, it was a massive one. Yeah, like a 1,500 crore project, and we were the sole promoting agency for them. So similarly for Chhattisgarh, also there's a similar tourism assignment that they are planning now. So it's not like that. I think what they look at is the more the merrier. So they also want investors from across the platforms across the world to look at their project, and that's where we come in and help the governments.
तो प्राइवेट प्रोजेक्ट्स को कब आप लोग प्रमोट करना शुरू करोगे?
So we're planning to
So that you know the investor has got the bouquet of things in front of him.
definitely. So the only uh, uh, issue in that is largely the verification part, because once the government projects are there, they're definitely verified at one end. We are talking to, so we have another initiative, Startup India within Invest India. So we are talking to them. They have a set of startups under the, which are DPIT recognized. So we're trying to get them on board, etc. But it would need some level of verification on their part.
An important announcement, our chief guest, Madam Manmeet K. Nanda is reaching in next 5-7 minutes. So before that, we will continue this question and answer session. Thank you.
Approximately every year, 2 million foreign visitors travel to the country, and it's growing by 14% every year. Till now, we do not have any body, where we can take a concern or take a, challenges. We don't have any body to it. And we're talking about, we have to be first larger economy. Unless we do not take, the concern to the body, because the body is like, I'm talking about the legal and Pakistan, Afghanistan, they are not getting visa. We have to go to black on media. Because our relation is also very much similar. But the difference that the concern is high. So that's what the concern, and this is what I was talking about. Countries like Turkey, Israel, so that is my concern. We should form our body. Then we can discuss how we can move ahead. Are you ready?
Yeah, I understand your concern, and we've also noted it down. But we do have, healthcare, medical devices, and a tourism team at Invest India. So maybe that would be the right forum. Those would be the right people who I can flag this concern to, and we can see how we can move forward with this. No, I think it's a fair point, and it's something which can be debated upon going forward.
Okay, so
Thank
Kaval, if I can add to this. So the government of India has launched medical value travel, realizing the need of promoting medical tourism. So there is a centralized initiative under the Heal India program, where both the medical tourism is being promoted, and the export of trained resources from India to countries where healthcare professionals are required are also being considered. So it's a very high priority item on our agenda, on the Government of India agenda. The team has been working on this for more than a year now, and the announcement will be made soon. The formalization will be made soon.
One more thing. We should
Do we have more questions? Sure, ma'am.
platform for the NRI investment, like our NRI investment project in India. We have been reading about the project for any special.
We have at Invest India PIO NRI supporting desk, which is working very closely with all the NRI investors to help them with their businesses in India. If you have any sort of leads or anybody who's interested, you can let our team know. We can provide all that support. We work very closely with the with various associations and the NRI associations that are from across different countries. We work with them and engage with them on gathering interest and also leveraging their their own network and the kind of presence that they enjoy in those countries. We leverage those to support both investments into India as well as trade between the two countries, the respective countries. So yes, there is a team with Invest India who works closely with them. Absolutely, absolutely. Please feel free. Yes, yes, yes. We absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, that's true. Our diaspora, in fact, is, as everybody understands, they are at, very influential positions in different organizations and themselves are investing a lot into India, and we see a lot of interest. This is something, and in fact, we have also been leveraging IIG because many of the diaspora also approach us saying that they would like to, sort of invest in projects which are from a specific district or, from the state that they belong to. So, we also make them get in touch with the IIG and introduce them to the projects basis, their region of interest. So yes, there are different options. We also have them, many of them would like to connect with startups in India, and that's where we also provide that support of connecting the NRIs and PIOs with the startup ecosystem in India.
I have a question for you. So you, beautifully took out some of the incentives and the policies of the, different state governments. Have you made some kind of a grid for all the states, because there are so many, different incentives
Yes,
in
there
other
is.
states as well?
There is.
Is there any kind of a grid for different kind of incentives? Which state has what?
We
so
have-
that we
we
can
have-
decide on one state.
Yeah, we have identified a few policies, a few good policies like electronics, textiles and all. We have done a
Yes.
state benchmarking exercise
Okay.
in which we have compared the incentives provided by not all the states, at least the top 10, 15 states.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can provide you that, no issue.
And that is that available on website, or we'll have to
We
reach out to
can,
you?
we can,
Okay,
it to
so
you.
we'll reach out to you.
When an investor reaches out to us, it's not just the incentive that they will be looking at. There will be a lot of parameters in addition to incentives, like, sometimes it is the availability of land, access to the infrastructure, how far they are from the port. or even sometimes, some companies have approached with specific requests on quality of land, water availability, quality of water, and so on. So basis whatever the request of the investor is, we do a comparison with different states and do a customized research. So what Shivam is talking about is something which is standard, and the policy analysis that can be done. However, our team will go ahead from that and then can provide those customized analysis to help the company take a decision as to which state will be better suited to their needs. And also we are also launching a sort of this tool on Invest India website, which will help companies come in and do this analysis on their own. They can choose their parameters and choose their states and can decide and see the kind of support that the states are offering. That is still being developed for the users to see it on the website. However, till that time, our team is working on providing customized analysis for them.
So that's wonderful. One last question is that, are you okay with, likes of PhD chambers or consulting firms approaching you for a particular investor, or you lies only with the investor themselves? What is?
No, we are definitely okay with, a lot of consulting firms, a lot of industry associations approach us with investors. So we work hand in hand with these associations, with these consulting firms. The end result is that the investor should be
Exactly.
facilitated.
Is our partner, and we are going to be working closely on many such engagements, be it reaching out to the investors or coming up with more research or supporting businesses in India.
Yes, yes, Priyaji, thank you. And now we will separate all the such kind of India investment opportunities to the other cities also. So now we have amongst us our chief guest, Madam Manmeet K. Nanda, for her keynote speech. And give hand to our proponent of the ease of doing business in India, and she is handling the Startup India and various prominent committees and programs of the government of India. And pushing the ease of doing business in the country, and we have improved a lot during the last 5-6 years, particularly during the recent years after the coronavirus. There is a great connect between the government and industry, and we appreciate that now the government is very listening and addressing the issues of the industry to move forward and to participate in India's growth story. Now we are becoming more and more lucrative in the global charts. And thank you, ma'am, for so many reforms and so many answers of the questions put up by PhD chamber during the last many years, and you have always patience to listen and to address the issues raised by trade and industry. I would request our Executive Director, Mr. Ranjit Mehta, to welcome ma'am with a plant. So now, because ma'am is busy in so many meetings in the ministry, so I would straightforward request ma'am to provide her keynote speech and address the gathering.
A very good afternoon to everyone here. Firstly, apologies for not attending the session right from the very beginning. But there have been there have been so many issues that DPIT is grappling with, and unfortunately, I get entangled in them. So some unforeseen meetings came up, so I apologize for coming in so late. I believe the Invest India team and Nivriti ji was also here. So they must have given you a complete snapshot of the entire reform process, the challenges, the opportunities, a lot of work that Invest India and Government of India has been heralding for making business and business opportunities be there for all of the participants that are here today, and the various reforms that the government has undertaken, and how with the use of technology we have managed to bring about a lot of ease of doing business, created a lot of portals for the use and benefit of business entities, whether big, small, micro enterprises as well. And all this has resulted in a lot of very strong credentials that the country can boast of. And we have seen that sharp, the V recovery curve that we have seen, that the Indian economy has seen, while we went down during the COVID time, and then we recovered very, very sharply and strongly, something that most economies have not been able to and are still grappling with. So in spite of the pandemic and in spite of the world economic crisis, our credentials, both by international agencies and within the government, is very strong. We are still looking at a 7.2 plus growth rate for this year. The FDI figures coming in speak very strongly, and most importantly, that 65% plus of those FDI figures have come in during the last 9 to 10 years, which speaks very strongly about the reform process that the government has undertaken. And at DPIT, we tend to get a hold of everything that does not fall under any other department. And that is something that we keep arguing with our seniors, that, we tend to get a share of the kitty that nobody wants to take care of. And that has the most difficult work of coordinating with different departments, different state governments. And that is how the ease of doing business may be generated. It started with the doing business report. And because we showed an improvement in that, we had to spearhead various other challenges under the ease of doing business that came about with reducing of compliances, of now that we are doing something which is known as trying to come up with a cost of doing business report, or a cost of regulation report, that is actually underway as we speak. We are trying to understand not just what are the various costs that a business entity incurs in terms of starting of a business, or in continuing of the business and taking the no objection certificates, or the renewals that are required by different business entities and certifications required by state or central departments. It has been an eye opener. There are many times and many costs that we had not even understood that businesses on business entities like you present in this room face. We are trying to get an insight into what, and give a figure to it as to what is the approximate cost. And then we will present this to the state governments, requesting them to look at their processes and to see what can be done to decrease the time taken for these regulations to be put into place. So if, for example, if you may be taking time to get a particular NOC, which would probably be taking 45 days in a X state, we will look at that state government, request them to relook at their different forms, whether we can decrease the number of forms, whether we do require that a renewal to happen annually. Can it be done in and kept in, continuation with the existence of that organization? Can it be increased to say to be taken after every 5 years? Or look at processes that are required to give a certification. Do we need to simplify it or not? So that is one. I feel it's a revolutionary way of looking at things, because government has not tried to put a cost of doing business to anything, or a cost of regulation, as we are calling it, that entire exercise. We will be trying to come up with this report probably by the end of September. We will be sharing it with the state governments, and then undertaking another survey and coming out with another report, say by the end of March or by the end of the election period, to find out whether substantively every state government has tried to reduce its cost of regulation in the entire process. The regulatory compliance burden exercise is something that we undertook extensively since January 2021. We have reduced about 40,000 such compliances. But again, during our interactions with business entities like yours, we realized that many of these compliances may have been reduced in books, in processes, but maybe the person write down at that final window where entities like you interact, maybe he's still not communicated about that change, maybe not aware of those changes and the compliance reductions, and maybe he continues to ask for those papers or requirements. And there comes the requirement to create greater awareness among the government system and the personnel also. So that gave us feedback on that. Work is underway in that session also. We have done extremely well in the doing business report, which we have spoken about several times. But the World Bank is also now coming up with something known as Be Ready. That's the new concept of the doing business report. It is vastly more extensive. It covers vast number of fields, many reform areas that were not touched. That is also another area that we are looking at, though as a country, we feel that the Be Ready framework as they have presented to us is again very it's pro-developed countries. It's not so much for a developing nation like India. We are trying to also reach out to the Be Ready, organization, the World Bank, and to tell them we recently had a discussion with their EDs also to talk about how this framework needs to be tweaked, keeping in mind developing economies like India and in the southern eastern region, and we feel that they should be looking into our considerations there as well. But of course, having said that, if we do participate in the Be Ready framework and that reporting, there will be a number of other reform areas that will be touched and will be looked into. In fact, today, while I was coming here, there has been a change that has taken place by the Central Pollution Control Board, where the extended producer registration, which was required annually, finally, because of discussions with the concerned departments and with the help of various industry associations like yours, we have managed to get that order out on the 28th of August, which says that once an EPR is granted, it will not require renewal. So I think that will also affect many industries in a big way. So it does take a lot of effort. Please bear with me that this discussion with Environment and Pollution Control Board required probably about 4 to 5 roundtables to get this through. So it's not easy when I say there is one change, and when you come up to us with a bucket list of desires, it takes a lot of efforts. And it's not that you may feel that we are, just moving on our feet very slowly, but it takes a lot to nudge different departments and different ministries to come together to think about it. But small successes like this, and when they get lauded in the public domain, gives us greater lease of life, and then we feel that we are moving in the right direction. So the various reform processes that have been talked about, the national single window, the project monitoring group, you've talked about various other issues that the teams may have presented today, are all steps, big or small, in this direction to bring about greater ease of doing business for businesses. And we are always open to taking your feedback on these reforms, on these portals. Tell us how to make them more investor business friendly. We will happy to look at our processes again. And that is where the partnership between the ministry, the DPIT, and industries and entities like yours will lead to successes like I just mentioned today. So very happy to be a part of the government right now, and to be part of this country which has seen success like the Chandrayaan, and where we read businesses from the UK, the business reporting from the UK, which is talking about they are fighting and squabbling in their media about why do they require to provide aid to India for its space program, and where it has been very clearly demonstrated to them amply through various discussions that we receive no aid from them since probably 2012 or 2013, and we've done it all by ourselves. It just feels that there's a lot of heartburn there. And I believe that when you get criticized in public globally, you're really doing the right thing. So we are all proud Indians today. What we have achieved and what ISRO has achieved are only examples of what, I mean, we are in great space today as a country, and there's lots to do and lot to, and all of us have small or big roles to play for it. So very happy to be a part of this forum. Very happy to share my thoughts with all of you. And thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our President, Shri Saket Dalmiaji, for his remarks.
What can I say? All I can say, ma'am, is that, we are so lucky to have you and Nuvriti Royji at the same day, because she made us dream and you made sure to get it done on ground, because we can all dream, but to do it and not without getting hands dirty is not possible. But to do it with a smiling face on top of that, that's the energy which you have. So I know that for a fact because I met ma'am when she just joined in, and it was a part of a startup in a initiative. And her enthusiasm and her inclusivity in inviting everybody to be a part of the discussion was fantastic. So thank you, ma'am, for having that energy and still making us feel so good, because end of the day, you're doing the dirty job of making our lives easier through ease of business. Is easier said than done, as you gave an example about pollution. And she's always gung-ho about making it possible for us. So we'll continue to, I think, share the help we need. But thank you for that proactiveness and making us feel good that we'll solve the problems to get there.
Thank you, President Sir. And ma'am has agreed to take 2-3 questions only. So we will request the audience. Firstly, provide your introduction and your question in very brief manner.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for a very wide and elaborate presentation. In fact, I have been an old student of Industry Development and Regulation Act, which requires strict control, licensing, expansion for everything approval was required. 91 onward, step by step, we started liberalizing and all that. I don't want to go into detail of all that.
And the recent Jan Vishwas bill has made further changes. So now most of it is irrelevant as of now. Go have a look at the Jan
So
Vishwas
my
bill.
very firm question is on the administrative setup. We knew that initially it was DIPP and which later became DPIIT. And now I find a new name written here, that is National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency.
The Invest India is a small baby of DPIIT. It's a very strong and important part.
Autonomous office separate
Yes,
from
it
the
is.
DPIIT,
It is.
administratively under the control of DPIIT.
Yes.
But otherwise,
It's a Section 8 company under DPIIT, and it has representation from certain industry associations and some state governments, but it is autonomous and under DPIIT.
Thank you very
Thank you.
And that is not the new name of DPIIT. That is just DPIIT's baby. It's called Invest India, and you have all the smart speakers here from there. And Nivriti Ji heads it, and I'm very proud to know that there was a lady who has come in as CEO Invest India, and very happy to work with her, and she's going to take it even further from where we see it.
Thank you very
Shri Deepak Babaji, our senior managing committee member.
Hello, everyone. I didn't know I was going to be invited to speak, but it was nice listening to you, Ms. Nanda. As you pointed out, I think the country is on a roll. I have a chance to meet with people, particularly wealth advisors, who have a good finger on the pulse. All of them feel that for one reason or another, India is going to be on the roll for the next 7-8 years. So there are so many cues, so many indicators which indicate that. But I think if you were giving me a couple of minutes, I would like to speak about my own experience. I have a company in China. I've been going there for 30 years. And I see China and India being compared many ways. And I'd like to say that I've been tracking on all data points. On all data points, India has been tracking 10 to 12 years behind China on all data points. So what I've seen in China in the last 10 years is phenomenal. And what you're going to see in India by the same data points is going to be phenomenal for the next 10, 12 years. It's not that we have to feel intimidated, but our time has come. And I'm sure the government is doing everything to help facilitate, be in step, to make it easier. And I keep reminding ourselves and everyone, particularly in government, the investor is mobile. We are not mobile. We are fixed. We have to make our country attractive. If we want investment in India, make it easy to do business in India, not superficially, actually, not at the macro level, at the micro level, not catch a mouse in the mousetrap and get an investment in. I think there is a lot to be done on making in India attractive at the ground level, at the operating level. Thank you.
Last question from Shri Sanjay Beswalji, co-chair of the Foreign Trade and Investment Committee.
For that news about EPR, and as they say, as you also say, that we should keep putting more and more requests to you. So within the EPR, one more request is that EPR sometimes becomes a big hassle for the small importers. For example, the plastic EPR, the plastic packaging EPR. Even if I am importing one small component packed in plastic, one little time, I have to get the EPR registration done, even if the amount of that plastic may be a few grams. So, our suggestion has been to put a kind of threshold that if you are importing, say, more than 100 kg of plastic in a year, or if you are a company which is so small, or if you are importing, first time, you should be given an exemption on that. Similar exemption is available for EPR under e-waste that micro companies are not required to do, or some kind of machineries it is not required. So in plastic packaging also, because it does happen so that every company is importing some machine, some component, something which is packed in plastic. And just because it is packed in plastic, your consignment is lying there at the airport or at the port for weeks or months together till the time you get the EPR registration done. And unfortunately, at CPCB, there is nobody you can talk to, there is nobody you can meet, there is nobody you can put your grievances to, there nobody you can even suggest that, threshold of 1 kg should be there at least. Something like that can be done. Now that you have achieved such a big thing of, no 1 year or yearly registration, I think this would be the smaller one.
We have of this demand, we have put it across to them. We will keep doing it till they don't agree.
I request our President Shri Satyaj Lavia ji to present a memento to ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So, please. Yeah. आप जरा प्लीज आ जाएं। ये तो रख दो पहले ये अच्छा हाँ रखा हो हाँ हाँ ये किसी को रिया जी हाँ हाँ प्लांट इधर ले आओ हाँ जी डन सर मैम फोटो फोटो आप इधर आ जाएंगे हाँ इधर बुला we invite Team India, Invest India team, please come on the dais for a group photograph. Yeah,